about. So in our last section, in our last class, we talked about this same science, the history of science, the history of Western science. In our last class, that was what we talked about. But instead of rise of modern science, we discussed about the Middle Age. We discussed about the Middle Ages in our last section. But today, which is the Unit 2, I'm going to be going to the history of Western science, the rise of modern science. So this is a different unit from the previous one we did. That one was about the Middle Age, while this one is about the rise of modern science. So let's take a brief summary on what we discussed in our last class. So the Unit 1 for this module, for the Module 2 of GST105, is talking about the history of Western science for the Middle Age. So for this Middle Age, under the summary, please let's look at that. For this Middle Age, we have two major parts. The Middle Age is divided into two major parts. The first one is the Dark Age, while the second one is the Renaissance. We have the Dark Age, we have the Renaissance. Those are the two divisions of the Middle Age. So now let's look at the Dark Age. For the Dark Age, it is the decline of science. The word dark, when they say something is dark, the deeper meaning of darkness means something that is declining, something that is not going well, something that is not connecting. If a pastor should tell someone that your life is dark, you will know that in the spiritual realm, it means that person's life is not okay. So for the Dark Ages in those years, rather, for the Dark Ages in those years, from 450 BC to 800 BC, that was when these Dark Ages, that was the Dark Ages prime. So during these years, there was a decline of science. Education was declining also because of what? There was war. The Romans were facing war then, and those years, Roman is the greatest empire. It was the greatest empire then. So the greatest empire that was actually pushing science, that was creating health, public departments, creating sanitations and the rest. They now started war. So as the war is continuing, science is declining because people that were supposed to re-establish, make observation, give hypotheses and develop science, they were busy fighting war. They were busy fighting for their life. So that is for the Dark Ages. So in these Dark Ages, it was religion that was taking charge of science. So anything they observed then, there was no critical thinking. They just say, let's just let it go. So far it is religion based. So Arabs preserve and improve science. The Arabs, they preserve and improve science. How did the Arabs do this? The Arabic numeral, the Arabic numbering that we are using in mathematics today, it is the Arab that started this. They were the one that developed it. The algebra that we are talking about in mathematics today, it was the Arab. It was the Arab that preserved and improved them. So science was connected to religion in the Dark Ages. So the second one is the Renaissance. Renaissance was the revival of learning, like the rebirth of science. I said we have Dark Ages, we have the Renaissance. In this Renaissance is the rebirth of science. This is when scientists began to use experiments. This is when they start to make observation. This is when they start to give theorem. So it was this Renaissance age that science was rebirthed. So science began using experiments, and this led to modern scientific development. So the modern science that we're going to be talking about today, it is the Renaissance age that leads to the modern science. So that is for the previous unit that we did, the last unit that we covered last week. So going to today's entire topic, I said the topic is history of Western science, rise of modern science. So we are still talking about the history of Western science, but here you're no more looking at the Middle Ages. Here you are going to the rise of modern science. So under the introduction, this is the simple meaning of what we want to look at. This unit explains how science moved from being controlled by religion and philosophy to becoming independent and experimental. Now let's hear the breakdown of this. It says this unit explains how they moved from being controlled by religion. In our previous unit I told us that the Middle Ages, they were being controlled by religion because the moment of those dark ages, the moment when there was no science, when science was declining, when there was nobody to observe, there was nobody to ask questions, to give hypotheses about some particular discovery, then in those moments the science was controlled by religion. Religion does not observe, religion does not test. What they just do is they observe it, and once it connects to their own biblical way or to their own Quran or to their own traditional way, they take it like that. So this unit will explain how science moved from being controlled by religion and philosophy to becoming independent and experimental. That is the introduction of this course. That is what this course will show us. So in the past, this is the Middle Age, people believe whatever religious leader or philosopher says. So according to what I said, that in the past, in the last previous unit that we did, we talked about the past, we talked about the Middle Ages. So in the past, for this Middle Ages, people used to believe that whatever the religion leader says, whatever they say, or philosopher say, that is final. But during the scientific revolution, the scientists began to observe, they experiment, and they test their ideas very well. So this is how modern science started. It started when the scientists, when they start to observe, when they started to observe, to experiment, and to test ideas. That is when modern science starts. So let's go to the objectives. What you should know. After studying this, you should be able to explain geocentric or heliocentric theory. So after this, you should be able to explain geocentric or heliocentric theory. Another one is no contributions of key scientists. You'll be able to know the contribution of the key scientists, and you must be able to understand why the 19th century scientific age, like why the 19th century equals to the scientific age. So these are things you must be able to understand at the end of this class. So let's go into the unit. Let's go into the main content. So heliocentric theory, I think I omitted the first one. So these are the five why 19th century equals to scientific age. Don't forget. So let's look at the Nigeria example. Like how technology like phones, internet, machines, how they keep improving today. If you look at them, you see that there's a very good increase, like good updates between them. Talking about phones, talking about internet machines, they keep improving every day, from different phones to different features in those phones. So they are trying their best. Technology is trying themselves. They are putting themselves on trial to make others happy. So that is for the why 19th century equals to scientific age. So let's go to the summarization of this course. From the beginning, I said science moved from belief. They moved from belief to experiment. From the onset, science was based on belief. They make it a religion settings because science was declining. So science was declining. There was no experiment, there was no observation, there was no test. So science moved from belief to experiment. Under this history of Western science, for these modern science students, the science moved from belief to experiment. In that experiment now, they start to experiment, they start to do testing of ideas, they start to observe. All of this makes it to make more sense. So Nicholas Copernicus was the one that introduced heliocentric theory, the one that introduced that. Then Galilei confirmed it using telescope. So this person was able to use telescopes to confirm what Nicholas introduced, maybe it is true or not. Then Johannes Kepler, this one explained planetary motion, was the one that explained the planetary motion. Then Isaac Newton explained gravity. So for the 18th and 19th century, equals to scientific explosions, we have five steps there, or 5 important points there that was given to us. So biology and chemistry developed rapidly. Yeah, biology and chemistry was developed rapidly because those our philosophers has been kept. For an example now, they have been in the prison. So immediately they come outside, they were able to develop rapidly. Some has been fighting war. So immediately they came back together, they were able to develop all those things rapidly because they know they don't want to waste time anymore. Anything can come up again. So that was why biology and chemistry was developed rapidly under this 18th to 19th centuries. It is called the classic age. So that is for the unit 2 of this our GST105, which is talking about the history of Western science, rise of modern science. Is there anybody that has any question to ask? Anybody that is out of curiosity, you don't understand some certain thing and you need to ask? Yeah. Okay, so in case there's no question, let's go to the practice question. So I have just two. Who can explain the difference between geocentric and heliocentric theory? You can tell us just one difference between them, the geocentric and heliocentric theory. According to their meaning itself, the difference is already there. One is geo, one is helio. So who can help us out? So there's nobody that can give a clear explanation for this, the difference between a geocentric and heliocentric theory. So from the explanation I gave, I said geo means earth, centric means center, helio means sun, centric means center. So that is just the difference between them now. So we can turn it to something some like a statement that can say. I've already broke it down. Alright. So that means I'm going to turn this question to I'm going to turn this practice question to an assignment and send it to the group for us so that we'll be able to do it. So let's go to the objective questions. We have four objective questions here. We have four objective questions here. And we have five objective questions here. So the first one is, who proposed heliocentric theory? Who is the person that proposed this heliocentric theory? You can help us with that. If it is A, just say your option. If it is B, say your option. If it is C, if it is D. Who proposed heliocentric theory? Just Oluwatosin, just unmute yourself and talk. B. So Copernicus. Nicholas Copernicus was the one that proposed heliocentric theory. So the second question, telescope was invented by who? Okay, you're pronouncing the name, you're laughing. Galileo Galilei was the one that invented telescope. So number 3, law of gravity was proposed by Dash. Who proposed the law of gravity? Yeah, Isaac Newton was the one that proposed the law of gravity. That's Isaac Newton. That's B. So number 4, oxygen was discovered by Dash. Who discovered oxygen? Yeah, Lavoisier. Lavoisier rather is the one that discovered oxygen. So number 5, evolution theory was proposed by Dash. Who proposed the evolution theory? Yeah, Darwin. Charles Darwin was the one that proposed the evolution theory. Those names are complicated. Just know how to spell them. That is the main thing. Know how to spell them. It is the spelling that matters, not just the pronunciation. And let's go to the fill in the gap section. So the earth-centered theory is called Dash. For those of us that cannot answer my practice question, at least let me see the kind of answer you give here. The earth-centered theory is called Dash. What do we call the earth-centered theory? Oluwatosin, you've dropped your hand. Why? You don't want to answer? I guess we should have jotter or a notebook that we are writing these things while we are doing the class. I said we have geocentric and we have heliocentric theory. So for this earth-centered theory, which one is the earth-centered theory between geocentric and heliocentric? Yeah, geocentric is for the earth-centered theory because the word geo means earth, while the centric means center. So if you are to write this down, your G must be in capital letter, geocentric theory. So number 2, the sun-centered theory is called Dash. You can answer that again. It's the sun-centered theory is called Dash. I've given us a lot of expo. I said we have two theory, geocentric and heliocentric, and we've picked one already for Earth center theory. So what are you thinking about? The second one, the sun center theory, is called dash heliocentric heliocentric theory. So the helio means the sun, centric means center. So that is why it is said that the sun is centered, like sun centered theory. So number three, Dash discovered the laws of planetary motion. Who discovered the law of planetary motion? We've picked this answer in our objective questions. Yeah, I'm hearing you. Who discovered the law of planetary motion? Maybe I should take you back to the objective so that you see options there. I guess it's not there. Who discovered the planetary motion? Hmm? I can't hear you. Yeah, Johannes Kepler, not Capel. Kep, Kepler. Something like Joa. You know this Ashake song that says Joa, Joha, then double Ness. So Johannes Kepler, like Kepler. That is why I said the spelling matters. Johannes Kepler was the one that discovered the law of planetary motion. So number four, if you have to write a name, make sure you are starting with a capital letter. Don't forget. So number four, Dash proposed the law of gravity. Who proposed the law of gravity? Who proposed the law of gravity? Let me go to the objective again so that you see expo there. In case you don't know those. Hmm? Yeah, Isaac Isaac Newton is the one that proposed the law of gravity. So number five, cells are the basic building block of Dash. The cells that we have in our body now, they are the basic building of what? Of the body, sir. And you can say of the you can say of the body is correct, but there is a particular term that combines even animal and human being together. It's on already. So there's no idea. Okay. Cells are the basic building blocks of living things. Between you putting body and living things, which one is more better? Living things come is more better because animals is having cells, even plants is having cells, human beings are also having cells. So that is why the word or animal, but plant is not involved, and plant is a living thing also. Can you understand? So we have plant cells. We have plant cells and we have animal cells. So plant is plant is not having body. So that is for this course. This course is a very, how will I put it? I can't say it is hard, but it is a very complex course. Imagine those names. Imagine you cramming all those names. Imagine you knowing all those names. Imagine you knowing the year, knowing the importance of those names, knowing what they do. So it is very it is a complex course, whereas you need to calm down to learn. Even after the classes online, you need to go back and read to for you to finalize the understanding. I don't know if I'm getting what I'm saying. For this course, anything dealing with philosophy, anything dealing with history, they are not just something you can just do and just look away that God will help me. To shock you inside the year, even God will turn back at you. So that is why I keep on talking about this course, that you need to prepare yourself so that it will not shock you, so that you're not going inside the year and you feel shock. You have the knowledge already. Even if you go there, I'm not saying you should go there and get 70, which is not possible, but at least go there prepared, so that anything you see will not make you feel shocked. Instead, the preparation will meet up with what you have there. So you understand? So please, let's put that in mind. So there's going to be another class tomorrow by 9 p.m. That is for GST103. That one is the computer fundamentals by 9 p.m. also. So for those of us that are here, I really appreciate every one of us. Yeah, God no go shame us. Please, let's start reading. Our exam is starting by June, so you have less than 45 days now to prepare. Don't say I'm too busy. Let's try small. If you are reducing it small, it is reducing. So please, let's bear it in mind. Alright, so I wish every one of us a good night. Alright, bye. Alright, sir, good night, everyone. Ciao.